we'll just start at the beginning. What type of challenges did you have that, like, sort of made you want to get started with neurofeedback, and how did you hear about us?
Yeah, so one of my friends, actually coworkers at the time when I was interning, did neurofeedback, and she had great results, and she was kind of going on about, and I recognized, how often she was just like spewing things out, and I was like, man, I want to be like that. And so she told me about neurofeedback, and so I kind of looked into it because at the time I was interning and I was having a hard time concentrating on the clients. I would kind of like, my own mind would kind of shift a certain way. I'd have a hard time remembering things, and then I'd have to be like, oh yeah, what did you say? And as like a therapist is something I always wanted to become, it was a block in my like way in my path. And so I was like, I'm gonna do neurofeedback, and hopefully I look like my friend that really kind of like suggested it. And so I just went for it, and I definitely love the results and the way like I focus and I have concentration and I can actually remember things. And it's awesome, honestly, having like an hour session with the client and then being able to recall like sentences that they say, experiences that they mention in the beginning of a session. If they continue to talk, I can even bounce back to a certain topic and remember exactly what they said. I even find myself remembering names, which was very uncommon before that. So it's awesome. Like a week later when I see the client again, I'm like, so how is this so-and-so doing? And I'm like, wow, I'm impressed, because that's something like I've never had to do before. And mostly I think the main reason why I ended up doing it also was because, like, being ADHD, I did not want to be on Adderall. That was just something that like I was diagnosed with and that I had to take a prescription for because it was affecting like my school, it's affecting my profession. And ever since then, I really like knocked down like my doses tremendously. I barely even take it anymore. I just rely on that, the neurofeedback results, and I absolutely love it because that was something I substantially wanted to change.
That's cool. Now, did you find some changes when we implemented the dietary changes?
Yes.
What did you notice with that?
Yeah, that is okay. So the dietary it's honestly outstanding how it works. So before I was having a lot of stomach issues, and I also thought like my diet was like affecting my concentration and health as well. And once we started the like 3-month trial of different diets, I don't know what I'd explain them, but they changed so much. I felt like I was cleaner, I was more alert. And then when I started to transition more food, eventually I was like, okay, that's not working. And I realized like certain foods affect me negatively. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, chicken, you would never think chicken, but that I notice when I take it or I eat it, I can't think straight. It affects me for a few days on end. And so, especially with the blood diet, I've noticed a substantial difference. Mostly mine's fruits and vegetables, since I'm type A. So that's fruits and vegetables. And I went a few days, I would say, honestly, I probably went a few weeks with just fruits and vegetables, and I felt absolutely amazing. And so it's something I definitely want to stick with. And don't get me wrong, I like protein, but I notice a huge difference when I eat protein versus when I just eat the veggies and fruit. And so I loved it. Even the supplements that you gave me, like the probiotics and like what is it? Revitalize? Is that what it is? Revitalize? Clear Vite.
Repair Vite?
Yeah, Repair Vite. Yeah, and then Clear Vite. Those two, I love those, and I noticed a difference in my bloating in my stomach too.
Yeah, so that's that gut-brain connection, right? You know, when your gut's not happy, inflammation is expressed in different ways in different parts of the body. In the digestive tract, what we get gas and bloating. You know, everybody thinks that's normal because everybody seems to have gas and bloating, but that means everybody's running around with inflammation in their gut, right? Mm-hmm. So when you end up doing a repair process where you actually eliminate foods that are most common to cause inflammation in the digestive tract, a lot of people notice like, geez, how come I'm not bloated? I don't have gas anymore. This is kind of odd, right? Because I've always been used to that. Well, it turns out that when you have an issue with the digestive tract with inflammation, of course, those symptoms are unique to that area. The brain, you get different symptoms. You get brain fog, you get anxiety, you can have depression, you can have problems with sleeping and focus, concentration, things like that, you know. So as a result of helping your gut, you help your brain. And so that's why a lot of people who tried neurofeedback may have not gotten the results that they expected, because their digestive tract was actually a big part of the problem. And in our program, basically, if someone's not willing to make those changes, especially after we have tests that show they have issues, right? You know, we actually do tests up front. And then as we're waiting for those results to come in, we have you work on a gut repair liver detox program, so that when the third phase comes in, which is reintroducing foods, we know which is going to be safe for you, at least from the list that we have. And then people know, like yourself, that they add other ones back and they go, wait, that doesn't make me feel as good. Like you said, you can notice for a few days on end that your brain didn't work as good when you eat chicken. Now that's actually something we can work on. There's other ways to deal with that, but you know, for now, at least you know that's not a good thing to have. And I remember that I referred you, she experimented once we found that there was issues with certain things, and she implemented eating those. She would find a big challenge with her brain too, right? And so we can't mention or, you know, all that, but for HIPAA compliance. But it's a common theme where people want to just try it. But when you eat the way you eat every day, you don't know how food's affecting you until you pare it down to a small list and then fix things. And then when you start expanding back out, you go, whoa, now I can feel a difference. So, and I think it's huge.
Yeah, I feel like the neurofeedback and nutrition was validating, especially like the results towards the neurofeedback aspect of it, even prior to even doing or performing it. It was validating, huge, immensely validating, only because I feel as if, you know, I tried explaining my entire life how the way I felt and no one believed me, or I mean, even if they did, they didn't understand. And so seeing those results and then doing like kind of like the blood testing to determine like what my body's reacting to and what is not was absolutely amazing, because I was like, okay, yes, I'm not crazy. Like, this is how I feel. It's on paper. Like, my brain showed it. And then on top of it, you know, like I was able to acknowledge the food that was affecting me. And then I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to stay away from it, which has also helped the aspect of just validating the fact that, you know, my brain's working better now, but before it was pretty bad.
So it's better to have a better functioning brain, right?
Yeah.
Life's better with a better functioning brain.
Yeah, I even found myself the other day, I don't even know what I was talking about at this time because it was a while back, but I like spewed something off and I was like, how did I even know that? Like, I was like, neurofeedback. That's kind of how I went about it, but
it's like back in those cobwebs, and the cobwebs have been cleared.
Yeah, because it was something I haven't heard in like, I'm gonna say like a decade, and I'm like, I don't even know how I didn't even know that name when I said it. I was like, just went with it, and I was like, that's great, I love it.
That's cool. So the next question I have for you is just, you know, what would you say to others who are maybe on the fence that might want to consider a drug-free alternative to helping them? I mean, you've used Adderall. Did you get any benefits similar to what you've experienced with neurofeedback?
No, not at all. So like being prescribed Adderall, I want to say it was about 4 years ago, eventually when I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I felt like I would have to wake up. I felt like the need I had to take it because I either had no energy from being ADHD. I was kind of like in the fog all the time if I wasn't on it. And not even that, but I was like getting headaches, or I would even feel like, you know, I would crash easily, and I felt like my mind was always like discombobulated. While taking it as well on top, like I did not want to take it because I know that it's not good for the body, especially if you take it through time. And so that's why I kind of wanted to sway away from it. And so the difference is I wake up and I'm actually really energized, which is really odd for me. Because usually it takes me a while to open up and like wake up and like get moving.
Right.
And now like wake up and I'm already motivated. I can already like talk to people and I'm just ready to go. And that's like a huge difference for me. And especially I feel like I have energy through the whole day. So it's not even just like I crash, at 7 o'clock or something. I usually go to bed around 10 and I feel like I have energy throughout the whole day and I'm able to achieve so much more. Like I feel like I can do more tasks and I'm more motivated and I'm not as like lazy as what the Adderall and the ADHD kind of made me.
Wow, that's amazing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't even imagine what to add to that because that's like a life changer for you.
It is, honestly.
Yeah. Wow, that's exciting. So, any last comments that you want to make?
I guess if anyone wants or is kind of on the fence about doing neurofeedback, I highly suggest it. Especially because, like I said, it is validating to know like the way that you're feeling and it's on paper. And now you're like, yes, this is how I feel. Now let's change it. And then seeing the progression through time and how like you're increasing, your concentration or your focus or, anything that you want to work on is substantial. And so I think it's a huge plus to see it throughout those like 4 months that you're doing the neurofeedback, or at least mine was for 4 months, but it's very validating to see the progress.
So a kind of interesting thing is 4 months of investment of time.
Mm-hmm.
And now the cool thing is this isn't like a drug. It doesn't wear off.
Right.
You do enough neurofeedback where your brain waves, you've learned to adapt and change them into new ways of thinking and using your networks in your brain. And it's just like riding a bike. What do they say when you learn to ride a bike? Once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget.
Oh.
That's because you actually create patterns of brainwave activity to create that psychomotor skill called bicycling. And similarly, it's been shown with research on neurofeedback that not only does the results last, but oftentimes when people do IQ tests before and after, they've actually noticed that they've upped their IQ test like 8 to 14 points, which is kind of fun too. Well, think about it. Your brain works better, it's more efficient. You take tests, you're better at taking the tests. And the test for IQ is just a measurement of how well you do a test of a various.
That is so true.
Right?
So true.
Yeah, we already showed you your cognitive performance test improved. So anyway, there you go. You got to give yourself a test.
Yeah. With 2 reds, I turn into all greens.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, that's about all I think we need to do today. We went over your test results. You did a great testimonial here to help maybe some other folks think about trying neurofeedback for themselves and getting results like you have, perhaps. And I think you're ready for your day now to see clients and talk to them, right?
Yes, I am, in like a half an hour.
Perfect. Good timing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you